Hey, that's right, friends. You're at the Common Good Podcast with a little jazzy blues theme song. I had to do a reset of all my technical stuff, and I realized just when we got ready to start a minute ago, I didn't reload our normal theme song, and this one is built into the system. And it seemed to go perfectly with the fact that Donald Trump is a raging mob boss who is destroying the very fabric of this fine 250-year experiment that we call democracy. Kind of like that little song. What do you think of that thing? You like that?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Yeah, yep. It felt like you were, Trump was sitting in the back of a club in Chicago trying to get Al Capone to, kiss the ring and all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like we just leave this down as a gentle bed over our whole conversation. Just all day. Like we're sitting around some little funky jazz club. That's fun. Hey, May 19th, 2026, year of our Lord. Hey, good morning to Jim from California. Jim, I know it's early out there. We had to get a jump on things. We've got stuff going on around my house today. Rob, how are things there in squirreled away somewhere outside Fayetteville, Arkansas?
We got big thunderstorms happening right now. So we got rain, which means rain today. It'll probably be 90 degrees tomorrow, which means Thursday I'll need to mow the grass and it will, look like a jungle.
Yeah.
Last night, Doug, 5th grade graduation.
Wow.
My 4th child graduated from Harp Elementary.
Seems early in the spring for school to be finishing. Are is this the old you got to get out and work in the field stuff?
Yeah,
in the middle of May.
They're done on Friday.
Start, early August.
No, they start mid-August. Yeah, like August 14th, 15th.
Okay,
around there. Yeah, but it is. It was really kind of bittersweet last night. Celebrate with Whimsy, and Doug, something funny happened last night, and it just was funny to me. I don't know if anybody else would find this funny.
Right. Let us be the judge of how funny this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So a couple of years ago, well, not a couple, many years ago, we sent our kids to a Christian camp here locally, and pretty much all of the kids from our church went to this camp the same week. And at the end of the week, they gave awards, at the closing ceremonies that the parents all come to, and character awards and blah blah blah. And every single kid from my church got an award except my eldest child.
Wow, didn't that same thing happen to Whimsy? Wasn't she not in the photo?
So last night we were at the 5th grade graduation.
Public school graduation now.
Yes. And every single kid who lives in our neighborhood was on stage at one point getting an award, except Whimsy.
Wow. Is it because she was treated like a star when she went off to Memphis for her big stock market?
Yeah, this was, completely different. And we're just over here raising a juvenile delinquent, apparently.
Just unnoteworthy children. People would say, what are the Ryerson children like? People are like, I don't know. Yeah. No one really pays any mind. Hey, Rob, I'm just finishing my 60th year, which means on July 5th, I'm going to have a 60th birthday. And frankly, I love the idea in the United States that we don't give people credit for their full birth year until they finish the full year, right? Like on your next birthday, we will say, happy 60th birthday, but you're not getting credit for 10 and a half months. I appreciate that. Like, let's finish strong, people. And I think, as an aging man, I recognize very clearly that nostalgia has power. You look back on times that you thought of fondly. You look back on times that you wish had gone differently. And there's sort of a little sense of reminiscing. And think about your childhood, you think about the world you grew up in versus the world your children grow up in. You know, it motivates a lot of people. This morning, I was struck by the fact that disappointment comes to an adult some days. Considering the fact that when I was a child, if you somehow, in the family of four, my sister and I and our mother and father, if I could be the one to first dip into the new peanut butter jar, that just felt really great. You know what I'm saying? You open it up, it's clean, you're the first scoop.
Just unmolested peanut butter.
Just Rob's words, not mine. It was great.
Yeah.
I've used it as a phrase in life, like, that satisfaction of being the first one in the peanut butter. But now, as an elderly man, we buy the natural peanut butter.
Yeah.
Which means
So
when
you
you're
gotta
the
stir
first
it if
one
you're
to
first
open
in.
it,
Yeah, you gotta
like
stir
I
it.
was today, and you look in there, you think, oh,
I gotta work now to eat my peanut butter.
I got to get out a knife. I got to somehow stir the oil from the bottom up to the top. And all the joy, just all the sheer childhood thrill and joy is sucked out of it because now we have better quality natural peanut butter that I've got to, and the knife gets full of oil, and who has time? So I just,
You're trying to scrape it off on the edge, and it's
like, if
just
I don't stir it all the way from the bottom third is going to be just rock hard in, I don't know, a month or 3 months or whatever. So I was struck by just the little microaggressions that age does to a person's sense of well-being.
Doug, you can get peanut butter. You don't have to stir.
I know. Here's the thing I've realized, Rob.
Feels like you're not making some of the grocery decisions.
If one is unwilling to make the list and go to the store and go through the hellscape that is grocery shopping, you don't get to pick the peanut butter. If Shelley were listening to this, she would say out loud to herself or to maybe anyone around, you can stop at the grocery store anytime you want and buy,
totally.
buy the peanut butter you want. In
Yeah.
fact, you were there yesterday. You could have bought one.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm not trying to solve the problem, Rob. I'm just wanting someone to hear the pain of a person who, when you were a child, you had hopes and dreams and you had joys. And now we don't. And when I was a child, I had a fleeting glimpse. Pink Floyd line. In 1976, I remember it well. The 200th
I don't remember
anniversary
well.
of the founding of a nation, who in active rebellion struck up a war against its own nation and threw off the shackles of tyranny and oppression so that the heart could fly free. It was riddled with Jimmy Carter, who I think was president July
76,
no.
yeah. Yeah.
The election was in 76.
Oh.
Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gerald Ford was our president, and we were coming out of the dark days of Vietnam and Watergate affair. Our president who did what this president needs to do today is stand before the press and say, I hereby resign the presidency of the United States effective immediately.
Before we dog on Gerald Ford, I have been to a number of presidential libraries, presidential museums around the country. The Gerald Ford Presidential Library in Grand Rapids, Michigan is the best.
The best presidential library.
The best presidential librry.
All Michigan State football?
It is fantastic. You know what I learned at the Ford Museum that Gerald Ford is responsible for?
What
glorious innovation? Gerald Ford is responsible for signing into law the the allowance of ATMs. And the first ATM, I'm tempted to say ATM machine, but it would be, kind of redundant. Um, but the first ATM machine is in the Ford Museum
Wow.
in Grand Rapids.
Hey, Rob, could you go on a little soliloquy for a moment? The workers that are supposed to come later this morning just texted me and they're outside my house.
Oh,
Can you update people on the campaign? Can you give them a couple of
yeah, I
thoughts?
could
And
do that.
I will be back momentarily.
Yeah, we started early today so that we could be done in time for Doug's workermen uh, to get there and do the work that needs to be done in his house. So, a little update on the campaign. We are in the midst of our "You Deserve a Town Hall" tour because my opponent, Congressman Steve Womack, has not done a town hall in this district in 2,450 days. And I don't think that's acceptable. So last week we had 4 town halls, and really great, enjoyable conversations, really engaged, interesting questions. This week we have 2 town halls happening. One tomorrow in Siloam Springs, and then Thursday in Barraville, Arkansas. And then we finish strong the week after that with 3 more. So we are almost at the halfway point. But I'll tell you, um, we have a big thing happening here in this district, and I will be going this evening to the Fayetteville City Council because there's this drone factory that our congressman has brought into Fayetteville. This company called Swarm Arrow, and they build these gigantic drones that kill people. They carry payloads of bombs and weaponry, and kill people. And Congressman Womack, kind of out of the blue, without public support, and even without a lot of knowledge from our city officials, brought this company into Fayetteville to open up their drone factory. Well, the public, you know, is not quite sure it wants a drone factory in its backyard, and so people have been organizing, and we had the planning commission changed the zoning. The zoning commission changed the zoning, and now Swarm Arrow has appealed that, and there's a city council meeting tonight. Uh, if the people of Fayetteville decide that they want to have a drone factory in their backyard, that's great. That kind of decision should not be made by a congressman, especially a congressman who 7 days after the ribbon cutting at the drone factory got a max donation from the co-founder of the drone company. So I will be this evening, not at a town hall. I will be at a city council meeting, joining those who are opposed to this drone factory opening up in Fayetteville. So that's a little update on the campaign.
Just droning on.
Droning on.
Campaign.
I'm over here droning on.
Did you talk about you being on the news?
I didn't. I also was on the news. Yeah.
Like a newsy show, like you're being interviewed as the congressman running for office.
Yeah, I was interviewed by Roby Brock at on the show Capitol View, which is kind of the meet the press kind of Arkansas specific political show.
Public television?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, advertiser based.
Yeah, it's KARK. Yeah, ABC. I think it's the ABC affiliate in Little Rock where it's filmed and based.
Right. Well, you looked great in the shot I saw.
I watched it and I was reminded of the great line from Friends that was, where Monica, they're making fun of how much she weighs. And she says, well, the camera adds 10 pounds. And Chandler says, how many cameras were on you. And I watched the interview and thought, whew, I need to lose some weight. So,
hey, Donald Trump is still the president of the United States, Rob. Every day,
speaking of needing to lose weight,
every day I wake up and I just long for that shocking news flash that he has resigned the presidency or other things. Just one update I'm waiting for to really thrill my soul. And he chose to initiate at his off-the-cuff comments at a prayer breakfast this year. We should have a day to dedicate the nation to God. Do you remember when he came up with that harebrained, cockamamie nonsense idea?
Yeah. And yes. And he probably talked about how we need this because religion is back in America.
Yeah. And
spoken like someone who's, really fully into this thing.
And yes. And look,
religious people don't talk about religion.
And religious people don't need, especially conservative religious people, that crowd, they don't need the government doing their work for them, right? Real conservatives say, hold my beer, I've got this. We take care of ourselves around it. We can run our own religion. We don't need government-run religious efforts. Real conservatives. In fact, many Christians feel the same way. You don't need or want your government putting on your thoughts and prayers. That's our business, not the government's business. But anyway, Trump came up with a great idea and then rallied up a bunch of money and took money out of a slush fund that they created for the 250-year anniversary of throwing off the shackles of tyranny, and looted some of that so people could run a Dedicate 250 event for the religious people of America in Washington, D.C. And I don't know, 10,000, 20,000 people showed up. Maybe more, but probably not more than we're at the Bruce Springsteen concert at the stadium over there in D.C. But a bunch of people showed up and said nonsense. Did you see any of it?
Yeah.
Did you see Eric Metaxas, this guy?
Yes.
Say something as ridiculous as, it took 250 years for the Lord to raise up a man who would finally build a ballroom. It's like a parody skit we would make about a great man who finally decided a nation needs a ballroom smaller than the Hilton Hotel ballroom.
Can we
a
talk about
one more thought, smaller than a dozen hotels within comfortable bike riding distance from the White House that already have larger ballrooms?
Can we talk about the impotence and inefficiency of Eric Metaxas's God, who it takes 250 years to raise up someone to build a ballroom?
Yes.
Like, this is not the most difficult task in the history of humanity. In fact,
no.
I would venture to say millions of ballrooms have been built in the last 250 years.
Yes.
Why is Eric Metaxas's God so weak that it took him 250 years to conjure up the one man who could build the ballroom?
The Noah of our day. If the one man to build the vessel that will.
Hearing how weak Eric Metaxas's God is, how inefficient, how impotent that
sad.
God is.
How sad.
Sad, pathetic. I have no desire to worship that.
It's just so dumb. The whole thing is dumb. So a bunch of people showed up.
Hey, your buddy was a speaker?
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One of my pals, Mark Driscoll, was a speaker at this thing. Hey, you know who didn't show up, Rob?
Huh.
Donald J. Trump, the president of the
Yep.
United States.
Yep. He was in town.
Didn't
He
go.
He golfed.
He
But
went
he didn't go.
golfing. And he sent in a video that he had used for the previous Bible reading thing, where they had to edit together a bunch of clips of him trying to read a passage from 1 Chronicles, where he couldn't pronounce the word prosperity and read it with the affect of one of the old voice-to-text readings on a Motorola phone. I mean, if Trump could give any more of a giant middle finger to these religious people, to call them into action, to bring them to Washington, D.C., and not to show up himself. This is a guy who will show up and will call in live to the dedication of a statue of him at one of his golf courses. He did that this week. Called on the phone. This one wouldn't even give him a phone call, didn't even give a buzz by with the helicopter, didn't even give a drive by with the motorcade. He sent a video that he had recorded and played that many of these same people watched because they're into the prayer day. And of course, everything this man and this administration does is either damaging or depressing. And this was one of them. Now, did a bunch of people glean a whole bunch of money out of being hired as contract? For sure. Just a complete sense of stupidity. And you know what no one is going to remember? 20,000 people getting together on the mall. Hey, Rob, there were half that many people at a No Kings rally in Naples, Florida.
Yep.
Oh, it just, you knew it coming down the pike that when Trump dreams up an idea, it's going to be pathetic and people are not going to be there. And this was that. Now, if this was the full force of Christian nationalism at play, we could say mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it's not. Because you know who else wasn't there? I don't think Pete Hegseth was there. I'm not even sure Pete Hegseth's pastor was there. What a low-grade, pathetic... And I'm not saying that getting 20,000 people, because I've run events in D.C. and invited people, never had 20,000 people. Never once have we had the White House take government funds to fund an event at the National Mall and have it be so pathetic. And then for Trump to just say, nope, not going to call, not going to hop on a live video. I'm going to send the quick edited one where I mispronounce the word prosperity when reading the Bible passage. Hey, and by the way, one more thing, Rob, because this comes up often in my mind. This passage that's read out of the book of 1 Chronicles is, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and will pray, I will heal
their land.
Their land. Not their nation. Not their country. That's great timing on the thunder. The land. That whole thing is that there's been a drought. Mm-hmm. And then says, if I open the heavens and the waters come rolling down, I will heal the land. Not the nation, not the state. You don't use the passage from Chronicles to say we should have a day of dedication and prayer to heal our nation. That's not what literally, if you care about the Bible, that is not what it says.
Right.
It says it will heal the physical land. Now, if we want to talk about how farmers and agriculture has been damaging or helping or hurting the land, if we want to talk about how pollution is harming the soil, how pollution is harming the waters, how acid rain is making things difficult, how too much mercury in the water is making every
Wow,
fish
I have not
unsafe to
heard the
eat.
phrase acid rain in a very long time, and thanks for throwing the fish in there.
Yeah. Then, yes, let's pull up a little First Chronicles. Is it Second Chronicles? First Chronicles. To heal our land. Shall we have a climate meeting and beseech the Lord of the universe with the ancient text from the Jewish scripture and call for the healing of the land? Let's do it. But
Yes,
even the
and
very passage they base this nonsense on, and the one that they give for Trump to read at another prayer event, is not about the very thing that they are describing.
yes, and it includes the condition that people not just pray, but they also humble themselves.
Yes.
I don't know, Doug. When I think humility, I think gold statue of myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. Or if other people are going to make a statue of you and then give permission somehow to put it at your golf course because they run a cryptocurrency and they want your favor in the federal
Oh,
restrictions and federal
screams
permissions of
humility.
cryptocurrency.
Screams humility.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Rob. It was Second Chronicles. I'm just gonna read all the words for you. If my people, who are called by my name, which, by the way, Second Chronicles, great line. Just that phrase, if my people who are called by my name. It's a great.
So
We
great.
could go into whole exegesis about why the divine in the Jewish text doesn't use a particular name. We could talk about that because you can't name the unnameable. You can't name the ultimate. We only name things that are owned or operated by us. Will humble themselves and pray. You hear that noise? Pray
Oh, yeah.
and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land. Heal their land.
Yep. And Doug, you're making the excellent point that land here is not metaphorical. Like this land is my land, this land is your land. It is very literal in an agricultural society, in the midst of a drought, in the midst of, people starving. And often people understood droughts and difficulties with crops as there being some kind of misalignment with their deity. And so the author of Second Chronicles is reflecting that and using that condition, that situation as an opportunity to remind the people that they need to live differently with humility and without wickedness.
Yes.
It's not just about the act of praying
Mm-mm.
as if the deity is some kind of divine vending machine that all you need to do is insert the right number of prayers and you'll get your, you know, soda or pop or bag of chips or whatever out of it, your candy bar out of it. That's the praying is almost incidental to the other things.
Yes.
The real problem is the problem of their hearts that were far from God, that caused them to live with pride and not humility, that caused them to live with wickedness. And oh, by the way, when the ancient scriptures talk about things like wickedness and unrighteousness, it is often talking about not some kind of personal morality. It's talking about how you treat the poor, how you take care of those who are struggling, how you welcome the stranger into your midst. And what this passage is about it's not about people, putting prayer quarters in the vending machine so they can gain political power. It's about the desperation of a drought causing them to reevaluate their lives and bring significant change to how they treat other people, because they recognize that like their desperation is shared by others. And that's the thing that will bring healing ultimately. Oh, my heart. A little sermon.
So they did that, and then Trump read that passage, and then they went on to thank God for a man who would give them a ballroom. It's just so absurd. It's just so unserious.
Oh, my goodness.
So unchristian, so un-American. Like everything in this administration, it is the RC cola. It is the uncola. No, is that Sprite? What was the uncola?
No, that was 7-Up, wasn't it? 7-Up was.
It is the 7-Up administration of everything American. It is un-American.
Yeah.
Americans do. Different traditions pick different days to organize their faith communities. Some on Fridays, some on Saturday, some on Sunday. Sure, there's some pagan groups with a good solid Thursday. Lots of things going on in this country. Lots of days.
Nobody wants Monday or Tuesday.
That's for football. Days are set aside for communities to come together and do community things. The government doesn't and shouldn't run any of them. Earlier in the comments, someone made a really great a point that the reason we threw off the shackles of England some near 250 years ago was because government-run religion, the Church of England, was something this nation didn't want. Literally, you couldn't be more un-American. But you know where Trump did go? To China.
China.
You know what he got in China?
Nothing.
Less than the organizers of the Rededicate 250 event. Nothing. Burned fuel.
Nothing.
Made Leader Xi more powerful and bowed himself to China. He went to them. They gave him nothing and said, "See you, little Don," humiliating him. And then Trump comes back and just brags about what a great leader they have in China. It's taco with a 7-Up.
Yeah.
Trump chickens out, and it's the un-American drink. This guy, honestly, Rob, you know what's easy to do? Put together state visits.
Yeah.
You plan them out for months. You have very highly negotiated deals. It is pantomime. It is theater. Mm-hmm. You know what you're going to get. It is whimsy going to the end of the year awards ceremony. Mm. There should be no surprises.
There have been rehearsals, they practice this.
Yes, you know what you're going to get. And it's important that you do these for the public and for the seriousness requires a little ceremony. There are things you do that you put together, a little magic to hold the container of the thing you're doing, and you cheer it on. Nothing wrong with that. Unless you think you're the greatest negotiator of all time and you're going to go over there and we'll work it out when I get there. And then you run into some nation that's I don't know, not Venezuela,
I mean,
where you don't
nothing
have a
against
side deal
Venezuela.
with
Like,
the soft coup. It's more like Iran. It's more like Afghanistan. It's more like China. You get nothing till you bow your knee and give them what they want. And this president did it again. Came home with nothing and humiliated the United States of America on the national scene.
yeah,
Just
it was. Yeah,
he's just bad at his job.
Yes, he is.
Sheerly, at every level, terrible and corrupt. The only thing he has done is to figure out how to bilk billions. And we'll talk about this big deal that they've got going on now. A settlement.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. Doug, you know, we as kids believe things without nuance, right? You know, kids tend to view the world in black and white. You know, there's not a lot, like, you don't worry so much about the exceptions. You know, with kids, you're trying to like help them understand the rules, and then you figure out the exceptions later. One of those, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one, and maybe people can answer this in the chat if you were this way. I think I had the unnuanced position as like growing up that like you can't sue the government.
Right.
You can't sue the federal government, right? It's just like that sense of like you can't sue the government. Well, apparently you can. However, there is in law, there is what's called the doctrine of sovereign immunity, which generally prohibits lawsuits against the federal government unless the government consents to being sued. I don't know, Doug. If the thing that can keep you from suing the government is the government's permission to sue you, or for you to sue, does it seem like there's a bit of a conflict of interest if the person suing the government is also the head of the government who would, you know, hire and fire and appoint people to positions who would make the decision on whether or not there is consent to be sued?
Well, this is what happened in this lawsuit, right? Trump files a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS for having leaked his tax returns. Just start there. Only president to not release his own tax returns. Not a law, but has been a practice that has been expected and accepted. He didn't do it. Somebody at the IRS leaked his tax returns. That's how we found out that he's a cheater and a liar on his taxes, as he is in every other area of his life.
Mm-hmm.
So he sued them for $10 billion. This week, it was supposed to be in front of a court where the judge was asking the very question you're asking, saying, government, I feel like you are negotiating with yourself here, and I don't think that's going to fly. So before they got that ruling from the judge,
they settled. Like, okay, I'm going to sue myself.
They gave themselves settlement terms.
And I'm going to, well, I don't really want to sue myself. Let's not go to court against myself. What can we do? Let's settle. Okay, how much are we going to settle for?
This is like Fight Club 2026 version.
It is ridiculous.
Punching yourself in the face and then saying, I'm going to stop punching myself in the face if I give myself $20. So they whip up this settlement. We worked out a deal.
Doug, do you know how much the settlement is for?
$1.7 billion.
It is. It's not $1.7 billion.
No.
It is $1.776 billion.
Is it 1776?
It is. We're just going to sit with that, folks. Just sit with that.
These are unserious.
Bastardization of our country by these people is infuriating.
It is. If you've worried about fraud, government spending, wastefulness. Remember when Doge came in with a bunch of Doge bros and tried to find all the money? They didn't even come up with $1.7 billion of U.S. to U.S. spending. They had to go take it from starving children around the world, killing 1 million of them to save money. Then Donald Trump decides to put a slush fund together that he's going to manage, and he will dole out to the people that he believes were wronged by this federal government for prosecution. First on the list, the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. That's who the money's going to.
Well,
Congress needs to stop it.
Is Donald Trump about to fund Antifa?
Literally. No, he's not funding Antifa. He's funding the fascists.
I know, but like
he's the fascist funder.
No, January 6th, it was all Antifa. Okay, yeah, so this is
oh my gosh. The idea that these people have been begging for years, for 4 or 5 years, that they were going to get a payout from the government. Trump promised it to him, wins the presidency, and finds a way to take government dollars and give it to these people. The biggest government handouts they would ever receive, like a bunch of welfare king prisoners. Yeah. Oh, it's just, and honestly, if anybody is like, I just think he's better on the economy than anybody, like, okay, let's get started on the list.
Yeah.
This guy is just a total. And look, you can say how bad J.D. Vance is, how bad Marco Rubio is, how bad every one of the people that are currently around Trump that soon he's going to throw off the boat are. But none of them would do this because they are not the crime boss.
Yeah. So this.
Oh my gosh! When I do that transition right there, look at how it looks like his hat becomes my hat.
Yeah.
That's I know podcasters, you don't get to see that, podcast listeners, but that's just a little treat for the video for the visual.
So the Mike Stavlin didn't get to see that. That's a bummer. This is from the Axios article about this. The taxpayer-backed fund will be overseen by a 5-member commission
Donald Trump, by Eric Trump, Junior Trump, Tiffany Trump, Melania Trump.
Appointed by acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal attorney. Bypassing congressional approval, the fund could extend compensation to January 6 defendants, conservative activists, former Trump aides, and other allies who faced investigation. I mean, it is just
absurd, wrong, criminal, disgusting.
Doug, you've probably gotten those class action lawsuit emails.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I get a check
in the mail.
Sometimes just a little check shows up and says, "Hey, you owned a Mac computer in 2006, and the keyboard thing. Here's $2.14." Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, and every time I always
cash
fill them
baby.
out.
I cash those suckers.
I do. I always fill those things out because, like, it's free money. I never expect it to be a lot, though. I expect it to be $2.14. I remember once there was something about a MacBook cord that malfunctioned or something, and I got something like $85, and I was like, Dang, like fantastic. Like $85 coming out. Like I am more than happy to take the 30 seconds to fill out the form on the website. These January 6ers are going to get an email, Doug. They're going to get a little postcard in the mail. And say, hey, there's been a little slush fund set up. Come cash in.
$1.776 billion divided by $50,000 is $35,000.
Divided by 50,000 people?
$50,000. If you gave $50,000 to each person out of the $1.776 billion, you could do that to 35,000 people. Not 35,000 care workers, not 35,000 people harmed by environmental pollution, not 35,000 children to receive subsidies and care and support. Thousands of people who attacked the United States Capitol and violently beat police officers and their lawyers. It's so disgusting. Friends, just say it to every one of your conservative friends. Where do you sit on pardoning and paying the January 6th attackers? And the government will never tell us who they gave the money to.
I also want to be very, very clear. This Axios article says that it's not just the January 6th people, but it's conservative activists and Trump allies.
Others.
Do
you know who's really going to say that he was harmed by prosecutions?
Donald Trump.
Pants box boy.
This money is not going to be equally distributed.
No. Donald Trump's going to get $1.7 billion.
Yeah. And everybody else is going to get a $2.14 check. And they're going to be thrilled with it.
Hey, and next time you pay your taxes to pay down the amount that the government's putting into the economy with the $1.776 billion, just know you did your part. Yeah. The corruption, and look, they're basing all of this on the fact that the Obama administration helped Native American farmers who were cut out of certain federal subsidies to make them whole. That's their rationale. An unfair practice that kept Native farmers from receiving support that all the other farmers got is the rationale for a lawsuit settlement around Donald Trump's taxes to then make a fund for people who were prosecuted. Not people who were cut out by the government, but people whose crimes caused the government to spend money to prosecute them. You know, in some places, in some crimes, if you're found guilty, you have to pay for court fees.
Yeah.
Like you become responsible for the fees that it took for the court to put together all the system to prosecute you.
Yep.
This is the reverse.
Yeah.
They attacked the Capitol. They created damage. Then the government had to prosecute them, spend all the time and money. In fact, couldn't even get to figuring out where Donald was because, Merrick Garland can't walk and prosecute the former president at the same time. So they waited for years while they worked their way through all these investigations, millions and millions and millions of dollars on prosecutions. And they're not going to pay for that. They're pardoned, and now they're going to get reimbursed. And then they're going to be given extra money for the trouble of prosecuting them for beating police officers.
Yeah.
Back the blue, baby.
Yeah.
When you hear and meet a back the bluer, say we totally should. So that's why the federal government shouldn't pay people who beat police officers.
Yep. Yeah. Doug, it also it also appears as if Donald Trump has figured out a new way to make money.
To acquire, could we say acquire money or
acquire
loot money or get money?
Yeah, apparently, according to
this man has not earned anything but the scourge of the American people.
Yes. So, according to Trump's most recent financial disclosure, in the last quarter, he made 3,700 individual stock trades. That trading activity, involving some companies heavily exposed to federal policy decisions, represents a staggering escalation from the previous quarter when Trump disclosed just 380 transactions. It's been reported that Trump publicly praised or promoted several companies, including Apple, Dell, Thermo Fisher, Palantir, and others, about the same time he was buying their stock.
I feel like there's a word, a phrase for this. Oh, insider trading.
Yeah.
That's
federal conflict of interest laws don't apply to the president.
They don't apply to the president. You know why? Because, well, the executive has certain exemptions.
Yeah.
Any member of Congress, any member of the executive branch should not be allowed to have their money used in the stock market. It should be a thing that you have to set aside during your very limited time in that job. And if you don't want that term of employment, don't take the job.
Yep.
We're not.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Johnson coming out and saying, hey, pay for congressional members hasn't kept up. The only thing a poor boy like me can do is work the stock market. You know what? It should be a job condition you don't get to. Do you still want the job? Do you know who understands that? All the workers in your state, Mike.
Yep.
Who are working really difficult job contracts.
Yep. Yep.
You know what we call them? The working class. The working class. Welcome to the working class.
Yeah. Mike Johnson, for folks that might not know, Mike Johnson was, this clip surfaced. I think it's actually a year old, but for some reason it surfaced this week, where Mike Johnson was talking about why he doesn't think there should be a ban on stock trading for Congress people, because Congress people only make $175,000 a year. And it's really, it's tough because they've got to set up an apartment in DC and then go home. And
no, it's a lot.
It's really difficult. And that congressional salary has not been raised since 2009. So it's really difficult. What Mike Johnson does not seem to remember is that the federal minimum wage is $7.25, and that has not been raised since the 1990s. So, Mike, how about you, as soon as you raise the federal minimum wage to $25 an hour, then we can talk about how much Congress people get paid. Until then, close your mouth and sit down. And pass the ban on stock trading, not just in Congress and the Senate, but also the executive branch and the judicial branch as well. Every member of our government should not be involved in trading stocks with companies that they could have some kind of influence on. It should not be happening at all.
At all.
But what Donald Trump, and this is a quote from the New York Times, what Donald Trump said in January, asked about, his family's dealings, abroad and with all of this. He said, I found out that nobody cared. I'm allowed to.
I found out nobody cared, so I'm just going to do it because people don't care.
I'm just going to do it. Who's going to stop me? Who's going to stop me?
Well, and here's the thing about Mike's argument. Little Mike, you could put your money into a mutual fund. You could still be vested in the stock market. You could ban individual sales of stock trading and still be invested just like most everybody else whose money is just chum in the water for the uber wealthy to use as the liquidation of the flow. You could still do that and ban individual stock trading. Or better yet, ban it all and give congressional members a cost of living increase pegged to inflation every year that so many other employees also receive across the economy. The idea that you're going to give congressional members a chance to really make bank because we haven't given you a 2 or 3% a year pay increase. Look, there's 500 congressional members, 530.
35. 500, yeah.
535, and then probably plus a few from the territories.
DC and Puerto Rico. And, yeah.
What are we going to get, 550? Let's say 550. Would it be okay, America, if we gave a cost of living increase to 550 people every 2 years? Fair enough, everybody? If they stop trading stocks that they are using their inside information and their lawmaking capacity to influence. Would that seem fine and fair? Good enough. You know what you could do? You could get a lot of that money from the $1.776 billion settlement. You know how long that money would last for the pay increase? Somebody should ask their computer or the web of computers, how much would a cost of living increase cost over the next 20 years for members of Congress? I bet it's not 1.76 billion. It's so stupid because if you make 175,000, 185,000, or 220,000, who cares? How the exact dollar amount these congressional people are making? They're already among the highest paid people in government, and it's a hard job and a boring job and a costly job. Yep, but you don't have to apply, and you don't have to travel around Arkansas for months begging people to join you so that you can have that job. If you don't like the terms of employment, don't take the job.
That's right.
Whether you're Mike Johnson who thinks you're not paid enough, or I don't know, you're a Democratic representative who wants to have sex with his employees against their will. It's a deal in the job. You don't get to do that. So if you don't want that condition of employment, put your hand down and don't swear the oath of office. My gosh, I mean, it's so absurd.
Yeah.
And you know what else, Rob? Like, this is something that our country doesn't deal with. The absurdity of the stock market.
Oh.
I mean, we are living in just a make-believe simulation of real money.
Yes.
Do you know why we can't tax billionaires the way we want to? Because they're not billionaires.
Yes, because it is.
They own valued stock.
Yes.
That's not money. People,
Yeah.
when people do this wealth accumulation and all the wealth is concentrated and they say this stuff, they're perpetuating the falsehood that stock valuations is the same as money.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Ugh.
Yeah, the argument is made that you can't tax it because the gains are not actually realized until the stock is sold. Now,
Yes,
Doug,
because it's not
Doug, you own your home, right?
with the bank.
Yeah.
But we're like,
but
we're counting the months down. Yes, I'm a homeowner along with my bank.
Yeah. You haven't sold your house, have you?
No. Once to myself.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of did a Trump thing. I negotiated with myself, and then I refinanced my house and bought it back for myself. The closing is interesting, but yes, I did do that.
You pay property taxes?
I do.
Property taxes are based on the amount of money that you paid for your house when you first bought it?
No, it's based on what the assessor says the house would currently be worth.
So you pay taxes based on the appraised value of your house, but we can't tax billionaires on the appraised value of their stocks. We have to wait until they sell the stocks, and then you don't actually know what the stocks are worth until they're sold. Doug, you should not have to pay, under the same logic, you should not have to pay property taxes until you sell your house. Because until you sell your house, we don't actually know what it's worth. But there's different rules. There's different rules for us.
Well, there's different rules for different assets. There's different rules for different assets.
Different rules for different asses. Exactly.
Assets.
Asses.
But asses too. Hey, the U.S. Economy is approximately $29 trillion. The valuation of just the U.S. stock market, $69 trillion. Think about it.
Wow.
The make-believe stock market valuation is 2 times plus all the money in the U.S. economy.
I mean, it's not even possible.
It can't be, friends. Just think about it for a moment. It cannot be. There cannot be valuation 2.5 times more than all the money in the U.S. stock market, in the U.S. economy. Yeah. It is a make-believe number. Now, it's a make-believe number that gives people power because you can borrow against the value of your stocks and everything else. And this is the giant game of musical chairs that we play with valuations. And friends, it is nuts. And that's just the stock market. That doesn't even include all the other valuations that people have on real estate valuations or crops or dividend. Like, we run an economy that is just based on make-believe and not real money. But if you have to go spend the U.S. dollar, get a U.S. dollar and give it to somebody else and not take credit for it, the money isn't there. And the idea that Mike Johnson wants people to be able to play that game to use political influence is so stupid.
Yep.
I mean, corruption is always going to be around, but this blatant ridiculousness. So Elon Musk doesn't have all that money. He owns stock that a bunch of people have valued at that amount of money. And then you know what they do? They borrow against the stock valuation from banks that are given real money of the 29 trillion that's dispersed from the Federal Reserve, goes to the banks, and then the banks say, we're going to lend you this money because if you don't pay us back, we're going to take your stocks. Tesla could become worth almost nothing in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
This is partly why you don't tax that money, by the way. Because the belief is your house is not going to be
a physical asset. Mm-hmm.
It's not, literally stocks, because look, after you buy a stock, the money it trades on doesn't go to the company. The company doesn't get the money. If I buy a stock for $1 from a company, the company gets the dollar. If I sell the stock to Rob for $2, the company doesn't get the money. I get the dollar. And then he takes over my dollar's worth of the company that I own. I own $1 worth. I sold it for $2. I get the dollar. And then there's fees. I get the dollar. The company doesn't get the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make the companies any better. All you're doing is buying on the hope that that stock that's already been purchased, it's like a used car. The car dealership doesn't get the money. You buy a new car like Rob did, a new fancy little electric car. Rob decides to sell that electric car. The car dealership isn't poking its head around the corner and like, hey, we still get a little bit of that money for the car. Like Rob's like, no, I own the car. It's my car now, and I'm going to sell it to this other person, and then they're going to give me the money, and I'm going to pay you whatever I paid you, and that I got a separate deal going over here. That's the stock market, by the way. It's not the economy, and it's not the value of the company.
It is a prediction market of how successful we think companies are going to be.
Unless you're going to then receive a dividend, which some companies will then pay a dividend. So if you own a bunch of stock and then they want to pay their owners, because your stock, you're an owner, then they can pay you a dividend. But most people are not making money off their dividends. You know, when you filled out your tax return and it said how much you're making off dividends and you wrote 0, like everybody does, save a few, because you're not making money off the value of the company.
Yeah.
Look, most people are invested in the stock market are not invested in it because they're going to receive the dividend. They're invested in it because they think someone's going to want to buy it for more money later. That's what Mike Johnson wants congressional members to be thinking about.
Because clearly, Donald Trump has been very successful in making money this way.
Yeah, I
Alex,
mean, look,
that comment about you being late again, it's how we probably all feel about the stock market, right? It's like,
look,
could have been.
Look, however you make your money, okay, you know, as long as it's inside the bounds of ethical and legal, okay, whatever you're doing your whatever. But there's nothing American about the stock market where we should protect the rights of the congressional members or the president to trade in the stock market. It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
It's just like the thing they're supposed to do is become stewards of the economy and become stewards of the system so that everybody else can function. That's your job, not to have a side job being a day trader.
Are basketball players allowed to bet on NBA games? No. You're not allowed to bet on something
that
you have some impact on.
Let's reconsider. I mean, CEOs get to bet on their own company. They have an impact on
utterly ridiculous.
Hey, and you know what else the Trump people are into, and a bunch of the kids and a bunch of Trumpy's kids, little buddies into?
Crypto.
Betting on in the prediction market about what's going to happen in the war in Iran.
Yeah. Yes. This is a scandal that is
Prediction market gambling is a huge thing, and they're doing it around this, and then Trump is writing tweets and posties.
Yeah, and there are people who have inside information on what's going to happen that are betting in the prediction markets on Kalshi and whatnot. This is a scandal waiting to happen that could absolutely blow up. The people who have made millions of dollars betting on what is going to happen because they know from Donald Trump or other people within the administration, and maybe it's people within the administration that are doing this. It is, I think the impact of the prediction markets in Kalshi, this is a bubble that's going to burst, and this is a scandal that's going to break. This, I think, is going to be big.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I don't understand all those prediction markets so much. I mean, I know there's going to be some consumer protection stuff going on in there, but if you're delving into that world, you get what's coming. In my view, I'm like, I don't know. You wanna go roll the dice on the proverbial street corner of prediction markets, and someone's going to slide a hand, lie to you, trick you, get you to bet against something you didn't know was going on and thought you were smart about, and they actually had insider information. Like, I kind of feel like, who cares what happens to those people? But there's probably some rational reason why the government doesn't want people to be making public bets and all this stuff if it's rigged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duh.
Doug, it's almost as if like a mob boss is the president of the United States.
I'm telling you, buddy, it feels very mob bossy to me. And by the way, this AI generated, just say something to AI and have them make a photo. It's pretty cool looking. I mean, not him, but just all the rest of it. I kind of thought your cigar shop would like a framed version of that. Maybe hang up.
My cigar shop would absolutely love a framed version of that. we
just put something subtly in the background they can't see that's like says like Pedophileville or Epstein's
just sneak something in.
Pimp Daddy, something like that. I mean, honestly, Rob, there are weeks where I have thought doing a podcast where we remind people that we're not crazy and Donald Trump is out of his mind and damaging this country for the common good podcast. Maybe it's going to be hard to come up with material.
Oh, never.
No, it's too much. You literally have to pick a lane to operate in, because what the man is not doing is any of the things that a president should be doing.
Right.
He's golfing. He's stealing. He's setting inside. We haven't even talked about the nonsense that he did with the reflecting pool, and he just off books hires some pool company that screwed it up. I mean, they're just a wrecking ball,
landscaping,
physical wrecking ball.
Yeah,
that it's quite possible that we're going to end up with a concrete bunker, and that's all there is in the space where the East Wing was. Because the new Congress that's going to be sworn in January of 2027 is going to do everything it can to not put one brick in the building of that.
That's right.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to find a way. Because you know what money's not going to come in? All the donations from those companies that said, "Oh, we'll chip into the ballroom." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I know they said that the $1 billion was for security upgrades. It was to front the money.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Well, Doug, we've got some primary elections happening today.
Yeah. Massey's in trouble, isn't he?
He is.
One Republican Well, I mean, look, again, the Republicans who turn against Trump, we always say, where are they? Why don't they stand up? They lose after they do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it happened in Louisiana last week
Yep.
with Bill Cassidy, the senator from Louisiana who voted to convict Donald Trump for his role in January 6th at his impeachment trial, was defeated handily, finished in third place.
Yeah.
Sitting senator. Yeah. So we got Pennsylvania. We've got Kentucky. We've got Georgia, Alabama, Idaho, and Oregon.
Okay.
So Pennsylvania, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. A state that went for Donald Trump, that has been trending red over the years. We're going to see what happens there. One race that we're watching in particular is our friend Justin Douglas, who's running in the primary there in Pennsylvania 10, the 10th congressional district, I think. So we're rooting for Justin there. Yep. Kentucky, the big thing we're watching in Kentucky is, as Doug mentioned, the primary with Tom Massey, who's been the Republican critic of Donald Trump. He's got a Trump-backed opponent in that primary. Georgia is always interesting. And there's apparently there's a couple of judicial races, maybe Supreme Court, something like that. I don't follow it closely, but there's a couple of races there that seem to be kind of people are looking at as bellwether indicators of what Democrat versus Republican support is going to look like in Georgia in the coming election. And then again, Alabama, Idaho, reliably red states. We'll see what happens there. And in Oregon, reliably blue states. So it's going to be interesting. Hey, somebody on the feed is looking forward to volunteering at my town hall in Siloam Springs tomorrow.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, Ajax on is the handle.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so it's we are in election season, and this is, again, I want to take all of these things, all of these election results as signposts and indicators, but what they are snapshots of sentiment in these places in this moment. They may or may not be, indicators of what's going to happen in November. We're not playing the prediction market on all of this. Past performance is no indicator of future results, and so we were going to watch what happens in these states today, and keep our fingers crossed for good things.
Rob, thanks for running for Congress. Everybody else, thanks for being common goodery. And to all the people in the chat, thanks. We appreciate you all being around with us for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. What are you getting fixed in the house, Doug?
We're having our house painted this summer.
Oh.
Like we live in this old farmhouse. It's got cedar siding, 1.5 inch old 1800s cedar siding. And we've never had it. We've been here 26 years, and we've never had it fully, properly painted. So it's an enormous project. They got to fix a couple of things. They're going to come in sand and strip so much off. They're going to prime the entire house. They're going to paint the entire, finally, a decade's worth of, the house is going to be good for a decade before it has to be little paint touch-ups, that kind of thing. Huge project for us. Yeah. So this week, next week, hopefully,
same
painters
color?
And workers. Look, the guys at Luis and his team messaged me last night and said, "Hey, we got a job in the morning. We've got to finish up that job, and then we're going to plan to get over to you about 10 a.m." Which caused us to chat about when we could run this podcast because I want to be out there to meet him. And I'm thinking to myself, I've done a lot of jobs. I've had a lot of work jobs.
Oh, it always goes along.
Always.
They say 10. It's gonna be 11:45.
Totally. He's here at 9:15.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like you, buddy.
Yep.
You got that
Are you
job.
staying with the same house color?
Yes.
Same color.
Yes.
Good. I love your house color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, because my children and another sibling of my wife thinks we should change colors, and I'm like,
oh,
I don't
your
even
children
want you people...
think you should change colors.
Well, one of them.
Wow,
I don't.
no.
I'm like, I don't even know that you're welcome here after we get it
Yeah.
painted. I just think you've got it. You're back to starting at zero. No, we live in a red farmhouse. I'm not changing it.
Yeah.
In fact, we hope that the color that we're picking is the color we want. We haven't locked in on that purchase yet. We're the thing that has to happen, especially with reds. Reds are complicated.
Whew. Yeah.
It has to do with sheen. It has to do with how much pink is in it. It has to do with it can lean into purple.
Yeah. When I asked you, what the workermen were there at your house to do, I was really hoping that you were going to say they were there to stir your peanut butter.
Called in reinforcements. I opened that peanut butter.
I got a crew coming. I just took one look and was like, I got to get some guys in here to do this.
TaskRabbit. You think that thing is still around? Is TaskRabbit?
Thumbtack. I'm on Thumbtack.
Oh, Thumbtack.
I'll come stir your peanut butter.
Thumbtack. Yeah. I could probably find some fetish site where I could stir my peanut butter and have people pay me to watch me stir the peanut butter.
Doug's launching an OnlyFans account where he
set it on my feet.
Butter.
What if I held it between my feet?
He's seductively stirring peanut butter.
The peanut butter. Come on. I literally, that is just
you got to pay extra for crunchy.
That whole OnlyFans like fetish thing, it's just, I only know about it from just like pop culture conversation and meme things. Like I don't even know that my imagination of it is close to what it is. But enough where I could conjure up that I could launch one this afternoon and stir your peanut butter.
Yeah, I think you need to stir your peanut butter.
If I could stir it with if I could hold something in my toes like people can do, and then stir.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'd probably bring communities together.
Oh, All right. Well, we'll OnlyFans strategize later. But in the meantime, I gotta run for Congress, get some work done.
Everybody else vote common good.